Hey, how's it going, everybody? We got a little bit of a different video for you today. We moved from the garage to the kitchen. Today we're going to be bottling and brewing some kombucha tea. So let's do it. If you don't know a whole lot about kombucha, it's a fermented tea. Has a lot of health benefits. That's actually why I learned how to make it. Andrea had some stomach issues, and this stuff's supposed to help with that, and so we started making it, and I kind of enjoyed it, and it's kind of like science. So you can buy this stuff at the store, lots of different brands. You can pretty much get it anywhere, but it's expensive. A bottle like this can be anywhere from like $2.50 to $5, and when you make it yourself, it costs almost nothing, and it grows and compounds each time you make it. You get more and more. It's kind of like those bread things where you share a piece of it and then someone else can start it. It's kind of the same idea. A lot of people are like, oh, that scoby stuff is so disgusting and it smells weird. Yes, the scobies are disgusting. They look like alien placenta or something. And it does smell weird. But if you get the right flavor and you learn how to do it and you kind of get used to it, it is pretty good. And it's a nice fizzy beverage, a good alternative to soda or anything like that. It's made with a lot of sugar, but when it's all done, there's really low sugar content, so it's a pretty healthy drink, and it has a lot of other good health benefits. But that's not what this video is about. Let's get on with it. We're kind of jumping in the middle of this process because I already have a batch brewed here, but we are going to start a new batch after I bottle this. So this main video is going to be about bottling it once you have it brewed. So it's all about finding the right flavors you like. Once you brew it, you're going to add some fruit and flavorings of things you like, and then you're going to do a second fermentation. I shouldn't say brew because it's not a brew, it's a fermentation. As we've done this over the last year or so, we've kind of found what we like. So I normally don't do this many different varieties, but for this video I wanted to show you lots of different things you can use. So we have cranberries. Those are just like ocean spray out of the bag, cut in half. Frozen blueberries, frozen raspberries. They're frozen because we grow them here, pick them and freeze them over the summer, but they work great frozen. And carrots, apples, lime juice, and some fresh ginger. Citrus works great, but I would stick to lemons, limes, and grapefruits. For some reasons, orange juice or fresh oranges, when you do it in here, it just kind of tastes like moldy hot dog water when you're done or something. It's gross. So you can try it, but I don't recommend it. So these are some of our favorites. Once you have your tea ready to go, you need bottles. My favorite are the store-bought kombucha bottles. You want glass, and it has to be something that can handle carbonation. So these are what I like. I just saved the bottles that I've had. These are cute and have these nice glass canning lid style things, and they work, but the lids just are so much nicer on the store-bought bottles. So you have to find a container that works for you. A lot of people like those pop-top, like homemade beer bottles. Those are good too, but you're going to reuse them over and over. And these lids tend to get scratched and rusty eventually when the paint wears off, so you don't want that either. So I just save all these store-bought glass bottles with plastic screw-on lids, and they seem to work the best. Now a lot of people will disagree. I put some priming sugar in each bottle. You don't really need that. It will carbonate itself with no sugar, just from the sugars in the fruit, but it takes way longer. I'm very impatient and I never like doing things by the book. So you don't have to do that. If you watch a lot of videos, they're going to tell you a lot of the things I'm going to do here are wrong, but that's okay because this is how I do it. So about a tablespoon of white sugar, and some of these will be ready to drink in 3 days versus like another 7 days if you don't use that sugar. But it all depends on how much natural sugar and sweetness is in the additives you use in your tea. You kind of just do it however you want. That's what I like about it. There's no wrong way. We really like berry teas, so I usually do a couple blueberry, and Andrea likes the raspberry the most. They're starting to thaw out. It's getting kind of messy. So I try to do a couple of them. And as far as how many berries to put in, that's totally up to you. The more fruit you have in there, the more sugar. So if you like a lot of fizziness and a fast fermentation, add more fruit. If you're not in a hurry and you want more of a mild flavor with less fizziness, then add less. So I'm gonna do, and you can mix them too. Like, I'll do like an apple, raspberry, or whatever. It's just whatever you want. So let's load these up. So now you can see we got all these pretty bottles full of stuff. And you can see I've got, like, this is a ginger, apple, carrot, a couple blueberries, strawberries. We got a cranberry, apple in the back, apple, raspberry, blueberry, whatever you want. I used to juice fruit, use my juicer and just put the juices in there, and it's so much more work. I found this way is so easy. This same process happens, and I just kind of strain the fruit out, or just pour it slowly and leave the fruit in the bottle. You can eat the fruit. Andrea hates it. I like the berries. I don't really like the carrots and stuff and the ginger chunks, but this just saves one less process. So I still have my lime juice, and I'm gonna add a little bit of lime juice to this cranberry apple or cranberry raspberry. So cranberry, raspberry, lime. I think that sounds good. I'm gonna add a little bit to my carrot, apple, and each time you get a different flavor. Ooh, I think we'll do this. What is in this one? I don't remember what I'm making over here. Okay, we're gonna do a ginger lime. I'm gonna put the rest of it in there, so it's just ginger and lime juice, and that's it. They are ready for the tea to be poured in. So it's just that easy, and it's fun, and it's exciting when you get to try it out and see how it tastes. Now we're all ready to do the final step. And this is the part where it gets kind of weird. So in here we have these things. Sorry about the camera shadow. Got weird lights in here. They're called scobies. It stands for something, 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 something. It's about the bacteria and the yeast. It's an acronym. Google it. Make sure your hands are clean. I said I don't follow all the rules, but being clean is important because the yeast in there is going to eat whatever's in there. So if you sneeze and a booger with a nose hair in it falls in your kombucha, that's going to be part of your growth of your bacteria. You don't want to eat that. So flies, dirty specks on your bottles, make sure that's all clean. So what you want to do is reach in here and grab this nasty thing. So this totally was created just in the last week. It was not there before. And some people call it a mushroom. It's not. It's just bacteria and yeast and all that stuff. So kind of shake that off. You can get any of those dingleberries to stay in there. That's good, because that's what helps it grow and ferment. Next step is take a nice clean spoon and give it a stir. You can see all this stuff on the bottom here. I know it's weird, but that's the good stuff, and you want that in your mixture. So I don't have a good funnel, so I just pour it in here after I stir it, and then bottle it from this. This is clean too. You can drink it like this. There's no carbonation in it. It's just a really bitter, weird tasting tea. If you leave it long enough, it will turn into a vinegar type liquid. From there, you're simply going to bottle it up. Try not to make a mess, and you don't want to fill it all the way, because these babies get foamy and full of carbonation. I leave about that much headspace, because when you go to burp them or open them to drink it, there's a lot of foaming and fizz that comes out. So let's do it. Once they're all full, you just go through and put the lids on nice and tight. If you spilled any around the outside, around the rim, definitely wipe that off and clean it up so your lid doesn't get glued on there, because it is a sticky, sugary substance. It is important these lids are on tight, because there is quite a bit of pressure and action in these once they start fermenting. fermenting. And then I don't know if it's right or not, but I always shake it up, especially because I have that sugar in there. I really want that to like be mixed up. Then once I do this the first time, I don't shake them anymore. I just kind of let them do their thing. So that's it. They're bottled. Now we're just going to put them someplace dark and at a level temperature. I found the warmer it is in the room, the faster they ferment. So just kind of stick them out of the way. I check them in about 3 days. You're gonna see the tops of the bottles will start to dome. If they look like they're gonna explode, you can like give them a little burp, but be careful because it will just come flying out of there. Putting these in the fridge will slow down the process. So if you're not ready to drink them and they're really bulging up and you can't burp them because it's foaming too much, put them in the fridge for a couple days and let them calm down. But like I said, it will start getting vinegary to where you don't want to drink it. So it's not something that has a terribly long shelf life, which is okay because I drink like a bottle of this stuff a day between Andrea and I, and then you have more on the way. So isn't it pretty? So this would be like 25 to 30 bucks depending on where you buy it. And I mean, we're talking, you know, especially when you grow your own berries and stuff, you know, I don't know, a couple bucks worth of stuff like sugar and some tea bags. So it's really a good deal. If you're gonna drink it, just make it yourself. It's more fun too. So now that we did that, it's bottled and ready to go. We're gonna start our next batch. You always want to make sure, if you want to continue making it, that you save a little bit. They call this starter tea. It's like the strong tea from the last batch, and we use that to make the next batch with another scoby. Each time you get a new scoby, they just keep multiplying. So very simple step, and I do it a cheater way. I don't even use the stove. I'm just going to microwave about 4 cups of water, get that super hot. Then I got 12 tea bags here. Cheap store brand black tea bags. All the videos online, they're using like fancy organic loose tea, and I'm just a redneck. I don't even know where to buy that stuff. So just from the grocery store works good for me. And 1 cup of white sugar. So we're gonna fill this. This is just over a gallon, which probably about a gallon because I'll only fill it up to about there. So we'll say a gallon of water, 12 tea bags, 1 cup of sugar. So you're just brewing a really sweet tea, and then I'll show you. While our water is heating up, we can do some of the other steps. I'm impatient, if you haven't noticed, so try to keep moving while that's heating up. I don't really use soap on this. I use like boiling hot water, and I put the lid on and kind of shake it up and to clean it, because soap is really bad. Like, you don't want soap in your kombucha because it will kill the bacteria and make it taste all funky. So I just kind of sterilize it with hot water. And we're going to put our cup of sugar in. And I'm going to also, I don't use fancy filtered water from the store. I use good old Pennsylvania tap water. So I'm going to put a little bit of hot water in there to kind of get a sugar slurry going. It helps dissolve that sugar. So just like when you're working with yeast, you don't want water over 120 degrees when you put your scoby in, because I'm pretty sure it would kill it. So this is pretty hot now to dissolve the sugar, but by the time we get our tea brewed and we let it cool down, so I pretty much let it get down to, like, you know, room temperature, a little bit warmer, before I mix the scoby in with the tea. Alright, the water is hot and we're ready to brew our tea. This part is pretty self-explanatory. You can pretty much do this any way you want. If you already have some tea brewed, as long as it's really clean and it's, you know, it can be iced tea, it's totally fine. The fresher the better though. So we're just gonna plop 12 tea bags in this water and let it do its thing. We are back. Our tea is done. So I just poured it in here. This was our sugar water mix, and now the tea, you can still see it's still steaming. So we're gonna put some cold water in on top of that, because like I said, I'm impatient. I don't like to wait. So we're gonna fill it up to about here with cold water, and you want to leave a little space in the top of this as well. So now this is just tea. There's nothing else in here yet. Just tea, sugar, and water. We'll make sure the temperature is about right. Stir it up so make sure the sugar is all stirred up. If you watch Andrea's cooking videos, that's what you do apparently. So I did it. Now is when the magic is going to happen. So we have our tea. The temperature is fine for what we're doing. And we're going to put a scoby in here. So this nasty thing on the side here, my hands are clean. I just washed them again. We want that. We want all that stuff. So I've got 3 in here, it looks like. So I'm going to take, this is kind of like a shredded up one. We're going to throw that little guy in here. And yeah, we'll throw this one in here too. So it's kind of like 1.5. And now you need so we got our scoby in there. It's sunk. I don't know if you could see that. Move you up a little closer. It's kind of just floating around in there until the temperature of the scoby and the tea are at the right, like they're in sync. It'll be all over the place. And as the temperature changes, you'll see it come up and down. At the end, it's going to come up to the top, form a new scoby, and kind of hang out up there. So get all this stuff off my fingers. Now we're going to add what's called the starter tea, which is about a cup of this really strong tea that's been fermenting with the scoby. That's what's going to get it going. So that should be plenty. Once that's in there, you give it a good stir. At first when I started this, I was like, oh, don't bump the scoby. I don't want to hurt it. It doesn't care. And I've ripped them. It doesn't matter. They're tougher than you think. So now that we have our new batch ready, I also, like I said, you want to keep it going. So I'm going to put another scoby in here to store it for the next batch, and I'm going to start another small batch in here. So that way I'll get a new scoby in this one. I'll still have the old one. There'll be one in here and one in here in about a week to 10 days. So it just keeps growing over and over, get more and more. If you want to give them away or sell them or just store them so you can do more batches. We have our new bottles here. Be ready in a couple days. They just look so good. And then over here, I actually have a scoby here with some starter tea that Andrea has set aside for a friend to start her own batch. And then I just kind of store all my containers over here. So this is where I store my scobies I already have, and this will form another one. This is a small batch I have just to grow another scoby. And then here's the batch we just did. You can see all this disgusting looking stuff here. But that's good, that's how it goes. It is important to cover these. Where you store your scobies, it doesn't really matter if you seal it or have a towel over it or whatever. They say not to use paper products like a paper towel or a napkin because it's not natural or whatever. I don't know. I just use like this, like a clean fabric towel. Some of the videos I saw, and then I put a rubber band around it. You don't want anything getting in there. So a little rubber band just to kind of seal it up from bugs, lint, dust, things like that. Some of the videos I saw suggested that you use cheesecloth, and that sounded great. So I tried that once, and it didn't go so well because cheesecloth is really open, and we happen to have some fruit flies. So guess what got in my kombucha? Yeah, I had little creepy crawly maggots crawling up the side of the bottle. So you don't want that. I learned my lesson a long time ago. Hasn't happened since. So these towels are good. They can breathe, but bugs can't get in them. So that's mainly during the summer when you might have flies in the house. So just let them like this. You might see stuff growing on top of the scoby. It's not mold. If it's furry and looks like mold, it will be, but they can be brown, have like dark flecks in them, or be real white. They're all different colors. But the acidity of this, I guess the pH is so low, I think is the right thing, that nothing can really grow in there. So it seems kind of weird, but it's just like when you make sauerkraut or any other fermented thing. So let me know in the comments if that's something you'd be into. We'll make an update video on both the scobies and the finished tea, and maybe make the kids and Andrea try it and stuff like that. So let me know if you want to see that. We'll make another video. Hope you enjoyed it and learned something, and we'll catch you next time. See you later.